What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. So I'm watching the No Jumper podcast, and I see an individual on there by the name of Famous Richard. I really had no idea who Famous Richard was until I seen him a while back on No Jumper, and I did my little research and whatever, right? And I see him in an interview acting like he about to fight Adam on there, and then the security trying to escort him up out of there and all this and all of that. And I'm watching how he's conducting himself in these interviews, y'all. And I come to the conclusion, I don't think Famous Richard is really from Chicago, y'all. I don't think that young brother is really from Chicago. No disrespect, but I'm just keeping it real, right? I don't think he's from Chicago. I believe he was born here. I believe he lived here for some time, but I don't think he was cultivated here. I think he was cultivated in Minnesota, and then now he sees the Chicago persona, these other artists and drill artists getting a shine on in these interviews and on these different platforms, right? And now he's trying to do whatever he can to overcompensate for not really growing up in Chicago. So now every time he talk, he on BD, on BD, on BD, on BD. Every single thing is on BD, on King David, on King David, on King. Bro, I went to school with BDs, right? I lived around them. I ain't never heard of BD put it on BD and put it on King David as much as Famous Richard. And yes, they do merch it. They do, right? But I feel like he overdoes it every single time. And again, I know people who overdo merchant and stuff like that, right? I went to school with Mimo 600 and them, right? For real. And he does it with, putting on all his dead homies or whatever. But like, I know a lot of people, and he's an outlier. Like, I knew a lot of dudes, they do not do that on BD, on BD, on BD, on BD. Like, bro, what point you trying to get across? That's like dudes who grew up in like real far suburbs trying to be ultra gangster when they went to college, right? They really wasn't from the go. They weren't from the land. They weren't from Chicago for real. And so in order to overcompensate for that, they try to come around acting like I'm talking about big gang banging, like they Larry Hoover or something. And you looking at them funny like, bro, what is you doing? Right? Because I'm saying that he acting like he's trying to fight people in every interview. And I think it's an act because he wouldn't act like that in Chicago. He wouldn't. If he was really cultivated in Chicago, bro. People are going to try to test you. They're going to have to test your temperature. Check your temperature. You feel me? All that, acting like you finna fight somebody on BD, on BD, on BD, every single thing. Somebody going to be like, bro, calm that shit down. And they're going to try to, check his temperature in a way where he's going to have to cool that out. He wouldn't be doing all that here, trying to fight every single body, all F all GDs and all that. Listen, it's dudes that call themselves individuals who diss the gangster disciples in Chicago. But he carried it in a different way. Like, he trying to get up and act like he's trying to fight everybody. And some people might be like, well, it's just his social media persona. He be overdoing it, man. He could never do that in Chicago. He couldn't. Like, it's some little shorties that'll check him about that. Little shorties. And that's why I'm like, he can't be from here. Not doing that. He's not. He cultivated in Minnesota, but he don't want to say he really from Minnesota like that because it doesn't give him the look and the clout that he's looking for. It doesn't give him the mystique, the aura, the tough guy aura that he wants by saying he's from Minnesota. And I'm not trying to diss Minnesota. It's real dudes everywhere. It's gangsters everywhere. But it carry different when you claim Chicago and you say you acting like that. It really does. So he's trying to attach himself to that. It's kind of like, man, I liken it to Montana of 300. Now, his fans get pissed off at me when I say this, but let's be for real. Montana was cultivated in Peoria. But when he got on, I believe they told him, hey, rep Chicago. Them people don't know Peoria like that, just say you from Chicago. I believe he lived in Chicago when he was a little young boy, right? And then he moved to Peoria and was cultivated there for the most part. And he came to Chicago sometime to visit people, visit friends or whatever, and visit some family. But he really from Peoria. But he say he from Chicago because he know when you rapping that gangster stuff, when you rapping street stuff, when you rapping all that different type of stuff, you're gonna look solidified. You're gonna look official when you say you from Chicago, when you say you from the land, when you say you from the crib. And I think it's the same shit with Famous Richard. Famous Richard just trying to he gonna own BD, on King David his way to the top, to the mountaintop as much as he can. It looked goofy to me though. And it's like, Huh? And again, I know he got affiliations to the Hunteds and all that in the Roseland area. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. But it's just like, bro, if you really from Chicago, man, and you really at your age, you from Chicago, and you know you done matured through the city, you're not gonna be doing all that extra stuff like that on camera, on No Jumper and stuff like that with Adam. You're not gonna be doing that. Cause you know it's gonna make you look silly. And then for one, you know you can't carry it like that in the city, in the go. You can't. Somebody gonna call you out on it. Then I remember what was I watching, man, when he said on King David and he stacked the boss. He stacked. He was stacking like a GD would. You know what I mean? Doing this like a GD would. I'm not a gang member at all. I'm gonna say this, right? But doing that. And black disciples don't do that. They don't. They don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even you heard Lil Durk in his song say, I'm 2-4 and ain't no stacking, right? And that I'm a hitter song. Because they don't do that. So I'm looking like, what is he trying to do? What point is he trying to prove? He trying to get clout, trying to get popping, but he doing all this stuff the wrong way. He gonna burn bridges with people. I seen a boy walking up to a security guard trying to act like he trying to get her gun off her hip, right? And she telling him, bag back. And the dude is like, I think it was like at a CVS pharmacy store in New York. And a dude came out of the CVS pharmacy and he looking like, yo, and hey, get your ass back, dude. Ooh. All that silly shit, bro. Because your music ain't hitting on nothing. Your music don't sound like nothing. And you trying to just do whatever wild, outlandish stuff to get popping. Until you land in jail, you get hurt. You know, and it ain't that serious. It ain't that serious to try to crash out. Claim Chicago and then trying to crash out, do silly stuff. Because I promise y'all, it looks whack. For real. It really does. Trying to fight everybody, act like you finna fight. Act like you finna fake fight everybody every time you around. Like, come on, dog. What is we doing? It looks silly, man. And he gotta let it. He gotta knock it off. Knock it off. Cause I'm looking at him like, bro, what is we doing? Cause this ain't. I don't want that to be the poster child for Chicago. But again, a lot of people from Chicago do silly stuff. Gang members included that I don't condone, that I don't respect, that I don't think is admirable, that I don't think should be upheld to any type of high standard or should be praised or anything like that. So he's not the only one. But I'm just watching him I'm like, bro, he merged every word that come out of his mouth. He could say, I on BD going. He'd be like, I on BD went, on BD to the store, on BD yesterday, on BD, like, all right, dog, on King David, on King, like, bro, come on, man. It gets ridiculous. It starts looking cartoonish. It starts to look like a caricature. Like, you know, and again, maybe that's his goal, to be a YouTube personality. You got to be a caricature of yourself or whatever. But, like, flying the Chicago flag behind it just look crazy. Because at this point, people be like, where you BD from? And who condoning all the silly stuff that you engage in? But see, a lot of gang members, solidified gang members, do silly stuff in Chicago all the time. But I just thought it was clowned out, that stuff with him and Adam on there. And I'm looking like, bro, you from Minnesota, dog. Be real.